going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Switch Podcast. I am your host, Kejuannh Humphreys, and today is finally the day. It is the trade deadline. The deadline was actually a couple hours ago when it comes to when I'm recording this video, but I just wanted to quickly dive into a couple teams that I feel like won the deadline. So my first one of the deadline is the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers only made one move today, and they traded for sharpshooter Buddy Hield. The full details of that trade is that the 76ers received Buddy Hield, and the Indiana Pacers received Furkan Korkmaz, Marcus Morris, and 3 second-round picks. Now, I love this trade for the 76ers. You add a sharpshooter alongside Joel Embiid, who is out right now dealing with a meniscus injury, but he is expected to be back in roughly a month. So when he comes back, you have him, Tyrese Maxey, who is a emerging superstar, Tobias Harris, and Kelly Oubre, who are both guys that both pieces that fit into this puzzle that Philadelphia 76ers are building here. And I just think this is a great move because it adds space. It adds more space. You have a dominant big like Embiid who's gonna see more than one body every time he touches the ball. So now if that body comes off of Buddy Hield in the corner, it's a trade ball. It's cash. Next team I want to talk about, the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, I had 3 winners, but the New York Knicks are the biggest winner to me of the trade deadline. New York Knicks made a trade with the Detroit Pistons today, and they received Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks in exchange for Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and Ryan Arcidiacono, along with 2 second-round picks. Now, when you look at the package that the Knicks had to give up in order to get Bojan and Alec Burks, they didn't give up anything. They gave up 2 future second-round picks that we don't know what they're going to look like, and they gave up 4 guys. They gave up 4 guys who don't see the floor. We know how Tibbs do. Tibbs runs the same 8 guys. They're going to run for 40 minutes each, and he doesn't really go deep into his bench. He doesn't go deep into his rotation. So you send 4 guys out and you add 2 guys that are going to be added to that rotation. Bojan Bogdanovic has been exceptional for the Pistons this season, and whether he's a starter or whether he's coming off the bench, he's going to continue to do that for the Knicks. I don't see how he declines no matter what his role is. He's definitely a 15 to 16 points per game off the bench, or even more of that, even more. He can score even more than that depending on how much opportunity he has. Alec Burks can be a spark off the bench, come in, knock down a couple threes. I just love this move for the Knicks. I think this move puts the Knicks, it puts the Knicks even higher on the totem pole in the East. We know the East right now is the Boston Celtics and everybody else. Yes, the Milwaukee Bucks have Dame and Giannis, but their defense is really bad. And their defense really bad is having them not as good as we thought they were going to be. But you also have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who've won 15 of their last 16 games. They're looking really good. They're getting back healthy. You have Indiana Pacers, who I mentioned in the previous video, with Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton. They're getting healthy. They're starting to get going again. You have the Miami Heat, who are a threat every single season, no matter what seed they are. But I think the Knicks are in the midst of that. I think the Knicks, this trade could potentially have the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've got a lot more depth now. They're adding more weapons to the arsenal. And right now they're dealing with injuries. Julius Randle's out with a dislocated shoulder. OG Anunoby, news just came out that he had a minor surgery and he's going to be out for a couple weeks with that. So right now it's Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo who's emerged out of nowhere to be a really good player alongside Jalen Brunson. But them 2 guys are handling the load, scoring, but you add a Bojan Bogdanovic, and at least until OG gets back, you have another guy that can put the ball in the basket. I love this move for the Knicks. The last team I want to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas made 2 trades. Dallas acquired Daniel Gafford from the Washington Wizards in exchange for Richaun Holmes and draft compensation. Daniel Gafford, he was a starting center for Wizards for majority of the season, and I'm not sure if they're going to have him start for Dallas. I personally would have him come off the bench, for Derek Lively. Derek Lively is a rookie. He's been playing really good. He's been the anchor of that defense that Dallas heavily needs. But not Richaun Holmes. Daniel Gafford, him in the pick and roll with Luka and Kyrie, whether he starts or whether he's off the bench, I think it's going to look great. I think it's going to look good. You add more interior presence with Daniel Gafford, not just offensively, but he's very energetic on defense. And they also received P.J. Washington for the Hornets in exchange for Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round pick. So we're gonna take the future first round pick out of the equation right now. For the Hornets, that's big for what they're trying to do as they try to get younger and they try to build for the future. But you essentially traded Grant Williams and Seth Curry for P.J. Washington. Now, Seth Curry was acquired this offseason in free agency, but he has not played too much when the team's healthy. He's gotten minutes with the injuries to Kyrie and the injuries to Luka, so he's gotten minutes in those times. But when everyone's healthy, Seth Curry's not seeing the floor. So you're getting rid of him. Okay, he didn't play. We're not losing much. We're not losing much from that. But looking at the Mavericks, we lose a Grant Williams. When I say we, I mean talking from the Mavericks perspective. Grant Williams, he's had an up and down season. He started out really good. Then he kind of slowed down. He started picking it up recently, this past week. But P.J. Washington is a 13 points per game scorer. And similar to what I said about Daniel Gafford, you put him in the pick and roll with Luka and Kyrie, and he can get the job done. I think he's definitely an upgrade from Maxi Kleber, who is currently starting at power forward for the Mavericks. He's an upgrade from that, and you didn't really have to give up too much for him. You didn't really have to. Now the Mavs is correct. The Mavs is weird. You know, Kyrie and Luka have barely played. They haven't even played half of the games that the Mavs have played. They haven't played them together. So I think we just need time to see how they're going to look with that duo. But adding Daniel Gafford and P.J. Washington around them is steps towards, I guess, turning into a contender. I don't think they're a contender now, but moves like that, if they could potentially, now the trade deadline's passed, but they could potentially get a really good perimeter defender, a really good 3-and-D guy, then they may be cooking something up in Dallas. More notable trades: Patrick Beverley's going to the Bucks to help bolster their terrible perimeter defense. Gordon Hayward's on his way to OKC. I think that's big for OKC. You know, you add more depth, you add veteran leadership, a veteran locker room around them young guys. The Nets traded Spencer Dinwiddie for Dennis Schroeder. I like this move for the Nets. Dinwiddie's actually going to be waived by the Raptors, so he'll be a free agent. But Dinwiddie hasn't been that good this year for the Nets, and Schroeder finished off last season with the Lakers good, and he kind of kept it going with the Raptors so far this season. His production at the beginning of the season was way higher than it is now, ever since they acquired Emmanuel quickly. But he's gonna get the opportunity back as the starting point guard, I believe, in Brooklyn, and I'm excited to see how that's going to look. A couple teams didn't make a move. The Lakers made no moves. Okay, you know, we know how the Lakers every year, you know, their name is in the hat for every single player possible. They would go back and resurrect Wood if they could do it, you know. The Warriors didn't make any moves, and DeJounte Murray is staying put in Atlanta. DeJounte Murray's name was in a lot of talks this past week with whether, you know, the Hawks were gonna move him to try to, I guess, get a couple first round draft picks, but nothing ultimately happened. But that's all I got for y'all today. I didn't want to go through every single trade that happened, because if I did, this video would be about an hour long. But I hope y'all stuck around to the end of this one. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Share with y'all folks. And we're going to be back again real soon. Yeah!